What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Mission Mike channel, aka Outsiders Church channel. I'm your host, Mission Mike, the worst missionary of all time. And today I want to make a video actually about travel. And one of the biggest keys that I think has made this possible for the last, I don't know, whatever it's been, like 6 years, something like that. But if I really had to use just one word that has made travel just completely doable, to go from completely impossible to completely possible, it's minimalism. That's right. You heard it correctly. Minimalism. I cannot stress enough, y'all, the value of minimalism and not having a lot of things. So right now we're currently at an Airbnb. It's my wife's currently in the other room. I'm just using their office real quick. But I want to kind of take a moment because, we downsized some things once again. And what's funny is over all these years, I continue to downsize. Both of us have gotten rid of so many things, and we are always looking for how to shave ounces off of what we're traveling with. Because I'm telling you, it's like every time you get rid of something, it adds up. So, I'm going to name 3 reasons why I would recommend minimalism and how it may be what's holding someone like it's what was holding me back, and maybe it's what's holding you back right now. But let's talk about the 3 things that I think make minimalism one of the most valuable aspects of being able to travel full time. Number 1, it teaches you what you really need. Ironically, it teaches you exactly what you really need because let me tell you something. Until you start getting rid of stuff and downsizing, you don't really know what you need. Like, you think you need these things, you think you need this, you think you need that, you think you need all kinds of stuff. You don't. Here's a little story to illustrate the point. When I first was going to travel, I started gathering up all the supplies I thought I was going to need. I knew I was going to be doing van life, okay? So I got this van, and I started collecting gear before my official launch date of all the things I thought I needed. So I had, inflatable kayak. I had snow gear. I had portable fishing gear. All the fun, hobby, exciting things I thought I was going to do. Within the first month, I think I sold all of it. I think I sold almost all of it. Because what I really needed in the van was space. And let me tell you, all that junk, it just took up space. I didn't have any room to move. I didn't have any room to lay down and sleep barely. And I'm just hauling this stuff, and you think you're going to use it. So, for example, my kayak, I used to use my kayak all the time before I started traveling van life. But then once you hit the road, it's like you go and use it one time. Where do you think this thing airs out and dries? When you have a patio at an apartment or a home or wherever you could be staying, you can lay that thing out in the sun, you can lay it in the backyard, you can whatever. When you don't have those things and it's just sitting in the van, it gets mildewy. And even then, it's like it had to be inflatable. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't carry around a hard kayak. And so it's funny because then I had snow gear, but then ironically I ended up van lifing around the coast for probably the majority of my travels. Because let me tell you, doing van life in the cold sucks, all right? So I guess, there's a lot of things you think you're going to need, but once you start downsizing, once you chase minimalism, you're going to quickly realize you barely need anything. At this point, I would almost recommend some good electronics, maybe a computer or an iPad, some kind of camera if you want to document or log any of your journey, if you think you're going to be doing YouTube, whatever. Water bottles. Okay? Stuff like this. Like a Brita bottle that filters water anywhere you go to avoid water that's has too many minerals and that's something you think you wouldn't need, right? For example, but there's certain areas you go where the water may be very hard or hard to consume, and you'll see it. The faucets will be covered with all this grime. I don't know what it is, if it's calcium or whatnot, but it's like having a good water bottle. It's funny the things that you end up needing and that become useful. Number 2, and you know what? Let me add one more. Clothing. Breathable. I think at this point I love stuff without armpits. I love dry fit clothing because you're gonna sweat all the time. You're gonna be way more active. So as you're more active, you need clothes that aren't gonna smell bad. So it's or that dry quick, or that you can, when the pop-up adventure, shows up, you're in an area and you're like, ooh, let's go do this. It's gonna be fun. You can start sweating. So it's I love tank tops. I love lightweight clothing, things that dry quick. So, the first thing, like I was saying, is it teaches you what you really need. Number 2, there's a crazy freedom that comes along with downsizing. I can't explain why. I don't know what it is, but there's something mental, spiritual, emotional about letting go. See, I don't know if y'all ever saw this movie Fight Club. This may be a poor analogy, but one of my favorite lines in that movie is he says, "The things you own end up owning you." That is so true. When you have a lot of possessions that you love, or you have a big house, whether you're renting, own it, an apartment, whatever it is, let's say you got a really nice couch, right? Are you really going to want a road trip? What about your couch? Where are you going to leave it? What are you going to do with it? You know, it's just funny how this stuff works, but it's like, you find so much freedom every time I get rid of anything. Every time our bundle of gear that we travel with gets a little bit smaller, I feel a little bit freer. You feel bigger internally when you have less externally. And it's funny because then it starts teaching you things like, for example, you know, when you own a house, to you, your front yard may be very valuable. You know, that's where you can have free time or family time, or you can go out there and just enjoy it, but you're like, this is my little plot of land. Once you get rid of things like your home, or your apartment, duplex, whatever you're staying in, you don't have a yard anymore. Let me tell you something. All of a sudden, the earth feels like your front yard. Parks feel like your front yard. You know, there is just something very freeing about letting go of stuff. You know, I don't know what your beliefs are. You know, I'm Christian, but it's like, you know, and there's a lot of unbelievers who agree. You know, I think we can all agree Jesus was a great guy, pretty smart. You know, I mean, and one of the things he said was like, you know, don't collect a bunch of possessions. When you die, you can't take it with you anyway. You know, so, and what good is storing up all these things? Because, you know, he gives this parable where he's like, you know, he tells this guy who stored up all this stuff, you fool, tonight you're going to die. And what's going to happen to all that stuff that you gathered up? So it's like, look, y'all, the less you have to worry about, and then it's like when you travel, what are you going to do? Put it in a storage shed? It's funny because at this point, my wife and I, everything that we own, we fit in our small little SUV. Like everything, all of our possessions, we fit in an SUV. That travel wise, if somebody wants to travel, it's almost a romantic notion. It's fun, it's exciting. To somebody who has a lot of things, I mean, like I've had people say that's sad, you know, but at the same time, it's like we're out here getting to harvest all these crazy experiences. And as I would travel and I would meet older people and they kind of share some of the vacations they went on throughout their life, I swear, I feel like, and I don't mean this as a brag, I mean this as an encouragement. It's something to be excited about. But I feel like we have already done more traveling and created more memories and special experiences than a lot of old people out there who've been stuck in the same job their whole life and can barely go anywhere or do anything, you know. And I guess that kind of segues into the third point, that it's like, look, you're going to find a much fuller life with less. It's ironic. You would think that you need a lot of money. You would think you need a lot of cool stuff. You think you need a lot of cool toys of various kinds. You think you need a great car. You think you need all this stuff to enjoy life. I mean, that's kind of, you know, in all honesty, that's kind of what we're getting sold on. You know, if you stop and think about it, a lot of people out there, a lot of ads. I mean, every dadgum commercial on TV, radio, the internet, you know, it's like everything is telling you. It's like, oh, if you just had this thing, if you had that thing, if you know, blah, blah, this, you know, that's what you need. And it's like, let me tell you something. It's like, you want to know how to live life to the fullest, get out there and travel. Go see the world. You know, I say this out of love, and I'm not trying to beat anybody out there, beat anyone up out there, because it's like, I had to wrestle with this a lot. But maybe you're one of those people who, I mean, are you going to live and die in the same town? Does that make sense? Like, are you still in the same town that you grew up in? What's the farthest you've gone? Have you even been outside of your own state? Do you not ever wonder what's out there? Do you not ever, like, look up the sky or see a beautiful sunset or see a cool picture of some crazy place? And you're like, man, I wonder what that place would be like. I mean, just go see it today. You know, it's that easy. It's like, it's as simple as saying yes. So the third biggest reason I encourage a minimalistic lifestyle is it's going to open a lot of doors. And that doesn't mean you can't have money. And ironically, having a minimal lifestyle may even give you more money, because then you're not blowing it on all this stuff. So then all of a sudden that money you can start exchanging for experiences. So for one thing, that's a passion for me and my wife is we love coffee shops. Like, love coffee. Always drinking coffee. Always, always, always. We'll make cold brew for every morning, and then whenever we can, we love just going and trying a new latte, trying a new place. We love the ambiance. We love just the smells. We love the cool locations, the coziness, trying on. And it's like, there have been, every time we think we've been to the coolest coffee shop we're ever going to go to, give it a couple weeks, we find another one. But it's like, we're getting to go and check all these amazing places out. Now, so, yeah, there's definitely a loss in a worldly sense. We're not getting ahead probably as much as most people financially. There's other people out there who, they're probably upgrading their car, they're probably upgrading their home, they probably have better wardrobes. Here we are with just enough stuff that fits in the back of our car, and then our home is basically Airbnbs and, extended stays, Wood Spring Suites. We stay in a bunch of those, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, if you're asking, or if somebody's asking or wondering, we are just, I don't mean this, again, not as a brag, as an encouragement. We are so happy, and I would just ask you, ask yourself that. How happy are you? How happy are you with your quality of life? How happy are you with your daily routine? How happy are you with where you're currently at, with where you're working, with the things that you own, in these endeavors that we have to move forward in life by getting a better job and more pay, and exchanging that pay for better things, and surrounding ourselves with better luxuries. Have you found happiness? Or maybe you're in the other spectrum where you're just scraping by day to day, kind of broke. I'm not telling anyone how to live their lives. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you how to live yourself. I'm just sharing our experiences. And all I can say is being able to travel full time. I have been doing full time travel and mission work for over 6 years. I've done van life, stayed with friends, etc. It's like essentially been almost homeless for over 6 years. And where I last stopped was I was doing full-time music out in Santa Monica, Los Angeles, and that's when I met my wife, and she believed in what I was doing. She believed in, my personal mission is to try to help as many people in the world as I can, and be a full-time missionary. Regardless of what your beliefs are, it's like, I think we can all agree the world needs help right now. People need help, and my passion is praying over people, ministering whenever I can. So I'm out there I'm doing music, I'm doing what I love, and it's like, and then we hit it off, and she supports everything, so we get married, and now we're traveling together, and it's just like, I just cannot recommend it enough. I cannot even count how many crazy and cool and fun experiences, but it's hard for sure. I don't want to sit there and act like it's just this never-ending sunshine and rainbows 24/7, and we don't have our hardships in this life. But what I can say is it's been a blast. And again, one of the number one first steps I had to take to be able to make all this happen was adopting minimalism and learning how to let go. And it's hard, y'all. It's very hard to let go of things that you worked really hard for. You kind of feel like you're throwing your life and your years away. But better to do that, and better to throw a couple years away than your whole life away. Does that make sense? It's, maybe you worked 5 years really hard, 6 years to buy the car you want, or to put the down payment on a home. But it's like, if you're not happy, and if you're happy, I mean, God bless, I'm happy for you. That's awesome. But if you're not, it's better to cut your losses and free yourself up to just start moving forward with life and going on a bunch of adventures, And even if you're not going to be traveling, even if you're going to be staying put, I still recommend minimalism. Whenever let's say we go visit family for like the holidays or whatever, we don't start trying to accumulate a lot of stuff. We might exchange some things out, get rid of an old outfit, replace it with a new one. Sometimes you got to update your phone every so often, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, y'all, minimalism is freedom. Minimalism is a synonym. It is another word for freedom, for being lightweight. It is being mentally, emotionally, and just spiritually lightweight, and it's kind of similar to working out, we're trying to get in shape for summertime, you know what I'm saying? So both of our goals is to lose some weight. When you do that, you feel lighter, and then all of a sudden you find yourself doing more activities in the summer, right? Make sense? Well, it's the same thing with minimalism. Minimalism is like losing spiritual weight. It's like losing mental weight. It's like losing financial weight. And all of a sudden, when you get lighter, you start finding yourself saying yes to more of life's opportunities, whatever that may be, and maybe the journey you're on is you want to be, for example, an entrepreneur, well, maybe that's a great first step, is to downsize some of the excess so that you can start opening the door and putting some money and some effort and some resources into starting that endeavor that you've been wanting to chase. So, I guess just the big theme of all this is minimalism to me is one of the most powerful elements that makes travel possible. It makes adventures possible. It makes going on a journey possible, whatever that may be. And it doesn't have to necessarily be loading up in a car and traveling. So I cannot recommend it enough. But anyways, hope this helps. If it does, I cannot ask, or I could not say thanks enough for checking out outsiders.church, regardless of what you believe. My wife and I, we love to travel. I love to visit MMA academies, and I'm praying over as many people as possible. I mean, just the other day, I'm praying over a guy who, for example, so I'll be like, what can I pray for you for? And guy's like, my dad's dying. So that's where my heart's at. So if you'd like to support that, go to outsiders.church. And if you need support, okay, maybe you're on the other end where you need some prayer, someone to talk to, you want to ask some questions, you're wrestling with what to do in life, please do not hesitate to reach out. Like, that's the purpose of my life, of our lives right now, is help anyone and everyone we can. So, my community right now may be mixed martial arts, BJJ. My wife's is probably coffee shops and just the coffee community, but that doesn't mean that we aren't here for y'all. So anyways, just want to share this tip. Minimalism, cannot recommend it enough. Love you guys. God bless. The Lord bless you, keep you. May his face shine upon you. Because let me tell you something. If you ever meet me in real life, you're getting blessed. I don't care what you believe. You're getting blessed. All right? That's my goal. That's my mission. And again, minimalism. All right? That's going to be one of the first steps to being able to get your foot out the door. Because if you don't and you try to travel, and believe me, we loaded up a ton of stuff once we got married, it's a nightmare. And you're going to spend more time packing and unpacking and looking for where all your crap is than you are going to be spending time just enjoying it. So, minimalism. Love you guys.